Good day, Brollies! What's up? In today's video, we're going to build yet another easy-to-build custom mechanical keyboard featuring the Epomaker GK84S Lite. The Epomaker GK84S Lite is a DIY barebones kit that is available in both wired and wireless variants and comes in either a plastic case or aluminum. It is also one of the few aluminum keyboards that support wireless connectivity, featuring Bluetooth 5.1 with a 4000 mAh of battery. I honestly feel like it is a very good option for beginners since it features a universal hot swap board, making customization easier and accessible. The overall experience is absolutely enjoyable. I want to share the experience with you and some of the modifications that I made to make it even better. So let's get into it. As usual, let's start with a quick unboxing experience. This is essentially made by Skyloong, which is being carried or offered by Epomaker. So we have the typical Skyloong gray box, and inside it we have the GK84S Lite itself, the user manual, and a bunch of other accessories underneath. It looks like the PCB inside the GK84S Lite is similar to the AK84S, which I previously reviewed as well, and I actually like that keyboard except for the plastic chassis, so this should be a pretty good upgrade. Inside the box, we also have a plastic keycap puller, a metal switch puller, some screws and standoffs, and the optional split spacebar module. We also have a braided USB Type-C cable right here. Alongside the GK84S Lite keyboard, we also have some safety guidelines here for using the universal hot swap sockets on the board and for the split spacebar module. Now, at first look and touch, I find the design, especially the shape, quite unique and interesting, with rounded edges and corners all around the keyboard. On the sides, you can tell that it is a little bit angled for that ergonomic form factor. Flipping it at the back side, we have the USB Type-C port here on this side with enough cutout for different sizes of USB plugs. Turning it all over at the bottom, what I like about this design is that the circular rubber feet perfectly match the shape of the keyboard. It also has this sort of green tint to it, making this colorway more unique. Overall, I like the design and construction of the GK84S Lite. Now, what we have here is the GK84S Lite variant. S means it is wireless, but it is also available in wired-only mode. In terms of the chassis, it is available in a more affordable plastic case, either black or white, or in a more premium aluminum case, either the drum purple or the variant that we have here, which is the drum gray colorway. You also have two options when it comes to the plate, either the FR4 plate or what we have here, the PC plate or polycarbonate plate. Now, Skyloong keyboards are also known to feature an optional split spacebar layout with an included module, which is an interesting feature to explore if you have the time. Personally, I like to keep it simple using the standard single spacebar, which is easier to find a compatible keycap set for. Now, like the Cablemod 005, tear this apart is completely unnecessary since essentially all you have to do is install the switches and keycaps and you're pretty much good to go. But for the sake of our video, let's do a quick teardown experience, and it's actually pretty straightforward. All you have to do is remove the screws from the polycarbonate plate, and then you can easily lift it off like so. So this keyboard features plate mount stabilizers, as you can see here, but unfortunately, the bottom of the stems are not completely flat, but at least it's not the claw-like bump. I'll show you later how I modified this using the microportate mod. Now, after removing the plate, you can now also remove the silicone dampener, and as you can see, it is not just flat, it is perfectly molded for this keyboard. This is actually where the gasket name of this keyboard came from, and not the gasket type of mounting. This is a tray mount DIY kit. Now, underneath the silicone dampener, we have the gorgeous looking black PCB with nifty legends on the switch points. And as with most Skyloong and Geek keyboards, it also has a physical microphone for the audio visualizer feature. Now, to access the bottom case, gently lift it up like so and carefully disconnect the wire connecting the PCB to the battery. The hot swap sockets on this keyboard are the Coiled universal hot swap socket, and the quality of the PCB is actually very good. It even has some sort of protection on the screws. Next, we have the bottom case foam dampener and the 4000 mAh of battery. Overall, the teardown experience is pretty straightforward and easy, and it didn't even have any screws at the bottom of the case. Everything is mounted through the plate. And while we're at it, here's how bright the illumination is when the keyboard is turned on. More than sufficient, I would say, for any type of working environment. Now, the switches that I chose to use for the simple build are the glorious Panda tactile switches that I used on my GMMK Pro build, and these are lubed already from that build. And for the keycaps, I decided to use the Ako Macau PBT keycaps. As I always say, Ako keycaps are one of the best bang for the buck set of keycaps with decent quality and outstanding packaging. And to top it all off, I also configured and ordered a matching custom coiled cable from Cablemod. Granted, the yellow color is a bit off, but overall, it looks cool nonetheless for the simple build. By the way, Cablemod is kind enough to provide us with a special code Philippine40 for an extra discount. Now, the finished build weighs roughly around 1.1 kilograms, and it also has good N-key rollover of up to 6 keys when using it in wireless mode and up to at least 10 keys in wired mode. Essentially, this means you can press multiple keys at the same time without conflict, good for fast typers and games that require multiple key presses. Aside from that, the GK84S Lite also features Bluetooth 5.1 with a 4000 mAh of battery as we've seen earlier on the Teardown. Now, I'm not going to discuss about all of its features and functionality. If you're interested, you can just watch my review of the AK84S, which essentially has the same PCB and functionalities except for the build, construction, and design. Now, before we do some sound tests, let me share with you some of the modifications that I did for this keyboard so that we can compare it with the stock configuration later. First, I did the Tempest tape mod, which in theory should make this keyboard poppier and enhance the sound signature of the tactile Glorious Panda switches. The tape mod serves as a filter, reducing some of the higher frequencies and reflects back the lower frequencies to achieve a more throaty sound. The effect will highly vary depending on the components and structure of keyboard, but this is probably one of the easiest mods any beginner can do to achieve a significant effect on the overall sound characteristics of the keyboard. And thanks to the relatively straightforward teardown process of the GK84S Lite, I think anyone can do this on their own with a little bit of guidance either from a friend or from online resources. Next, the other mod that I did on this keyboard is the popular PE foam mod. This is done by placing a thin layer of PE foam in between the PCB and plate, and is a little bit more challenging and delicate than the tape mod. There are some pros and cons for this mod that you have to consider as well. First, you need to consider that this mod could possibly make your PCB and plate combo thicker than it should be, and in some cases, especially with thicker foam, the switches might not be as secured or might get bent during installation. And if you use flexible plates like POM and polycarbonate like what we have here, sometimes the plate can get distorted, so you should be careful when doing this mod. The PE foam mod by itself or partnered with the tape mod will ultimately make the keyboard sound even more deep and poppy. The execution is a little bit advanced compared to the tape mod. Now, the last modification that I did on this keyboard is probably one of the oldest mods that you can make on your keyboard, way before the tape and PE foam mod was discovered, and this is the stabilizer modification. Now, there are a lot of different methods to modify and tune a stabilizer. There's the basic lubing and holy mod, but my personal choice is the micropore wrap around the wire mod. I honestly feel like it is the easiest and most effective way to reduce the rattling feel and sound of a stabilizer. This is done by simply wrapping a thin layer of micropore tape, I prefer the 3M brand, and then lubing it with a substantial but not too much of some Krytox 205 grade 0 lube. I also lube the housing and the sides of the stem. Now, this is easy to get overdone and get super mushy, so make sure to balance the application well. Also, in some cases, it'll take some time breaking in for the micropore tape to get softer and smoother. And lastly, of course, you have to make sure that the switches you will use are either pre-lubed by the manufacturer or lubed manually for an overall nice and smooth typing experience. Alright, now after putting it back all together, I can finally share with you some sound test comparisons. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the sound quality of both the simple build and its modified version. Personally, I think the difference is night and day, and the modified version certainly has the deep and thuggy sound I was going after. Overall, I really like the Epomaker GK84S Lite. The design, construction, build quality, features, and performance checks all my boxes, and thanks to all the modifications that I did, it made it exponentially better. I can easily recommend this keyboard to anyone, even for beginners. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Huge thanks to Epomaker for sending this in. You can get this using the link below. You can actually get this now on Shopee Philippines via their official Shopee store. Also, huge thanks to Cablemod for providing the custom coiled cable. Again, use the code Philippine40 for an extra discount. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.